Well, let's dive in. Thanks everyone for joining us today. My name is Emily, and I am the Senior Campaign Specialist here at Realityworks. I'm on the marketing team. I get to do all sorts of fun stuff to promote our products, talk to educators. I get to visit classrooms. I get to learn how folks like you guys are using our tools and the needs that you have that our tools might fulfill. And then I get to share the information I've learned from all of those conversations and, conversations with subject matter experts. So that's where a lot of those, the content that you'll be hearing today has come from. So with that, let's dive right in. So let's see. First, let's take a peek at the agenda. We are going to do a couple of things today. We're going to take just a quick moment to introduce Realityworks. Then we're going to review the needs of today's students and the importance of teaching empathy and other soft skills. We'll chat a little bit about using wearables in particular to simulate those real life challenges and create those learning experiences that today's students need to learn empathy and develop those other emotional intelligence skills. Then we'll see some tools in action. We'll cover our Geriatric Simulator, our Geriatric Sensory Impairment Kit, our COPD and Mobility Challenges Simulation, Hemiplegia Simulator, and Dementia Simulation experience. And then we'll share some free resources and wrap with some questions. So let's get started. Let's take a moment first, again, to talk about who today's students are. Here we go. I'm sorry, guys, there's a tiny bit of a delay, but here we go. All right. Generation Z. So most of the students in classrooms today are part of Generation Z. That's anyone who was born between 1997 and 2012. So they range from middle school students to young professionals. I always like to think of this generation in terms of my own kids. I have a 4th grader and a 7th grader. So the youngest Generation Z students are around 12, which is the same age as my oldest child. And this generation, as we all know, is the first to grow up entirely in the digital age. It's boggling to me sometimes when I think about that applying to my son, but it's true. He is a digital native. He's always had access to smartphones, social media, high-speed internet, and so has his peers. And because of that, these students' brains are wired a little bit differently, right? They expect information super fast and they navigate tech intuitively. One really encouraging fact that I think is that Gen Z is actually more likely than early generations to finish high school and go on to college. So you guys are working with a highly motivated group. They just learn a little differently. So let's talk for a moment about how Gen Z learns. These students are incredibly comfortable navigating digital environments, which means they tend to process information quickly and they gravitate toward visual and interactive content. But with this comfort with technology means they've been conditioned to expect immediacy, right? That immediate access to information, that instant feedback, those fast interactions, and that shapes how they approach learning. Traditional lectures, slow feedback can feel frustrating and disengaging to them. It's also really important to know that they're not necessarily struggling with super short attention spans, but rather you guys are competing with that constant stream of content, all the screens and all the feedback and all of the things they can constantly be doing all of the time and quickly. So to truly connect with them, lessons need to feel relevant. They need to be experiential. That's why tools like wearable simulators are so powerful. So here's a quick look at how learning preferences have evolved across generations. And what really stands out with Generation Z is that get it now, do it now, learn it now mindset that they all have. They're all looking again for that fast access to information, those hands-on experiences, and that real-time feedback. And that's a big shift, as you can see from previous generations, who are more comfortable with delayed results or passive learning. So for educators, this highlights the need to move from telling to experiencing. And that's exactly where wearable simulations come in. So before we dive into those wearable simulations, let's take a look for a moment about what empathy is and why is it important. So this is one of my favorite quotes from a health science instructor in West Virginia, here in the US that I've worked with in the past. And I think it really captures what so many instructors, whether they come from healthcare, social services, education, or other helping professions, have told us. And that is that empathy isn't just a buzzword. It's what helps our students connect with others on that human level. And it becomes especially important when working with aging populations, where patience and understanding can truly impact someone's quality of life. When we give students the opportunity to really experience what it feels like to move slowly, to struggle with those fine motor skills, or to hear less clearly, right, it changes their mindsets. They begin to act with more compassion. They begin to demonstrate more patience. They begin to demonstrate more respect. And that shift makes all the difference, whether they're in hospitals or classrooms or counseling sessions or just helping someone at the grocery store, right? Empathy is essential no matter what you're going to do with the rest of your life. So, as you prepare students for the real world, it's important to recognize also that empathy isn't just a nice to have, but it's something today's employers are actively looking for. So, the statistics on your screen show just how valuable empathy is across different roles and industries. Whether someone is working in healthcare or hospitality or education or retail, being able to understand and respond to others with compassion and awareness has a measurable impact, right? You can see 85% of customers say they prefer emotionally intelligent representatives. That means empathy improves customer service. 76% of employees say empathy actually increases productivity. And over 60% say they're more loyal to coworkers who show empathy. And that last bullet actually stands out to me the most. 1 in 2 people say that a lack of empathy causes them to disengage. I mean, gosh, that affects team performance, that affects culture, that affects retention, right? So the takeaway here is clear. Empathy isn't just something we should teach for emotional or ethical reasons. It's something today's workforce demands. Okay, wearables. Why wearables? Well, wearables are an incredibly effective way to teach empathy, especially when it comes to those sensitive or personal topics. So let's take a closer look at why. So we just said they're an incredibly effective way to address empathy in general, but especially when it comes to sensitive or personal topics. And one of the reasons is because it can protect students' privacy, unlike, for instance, a peer physical exam in, say, a healthcare setting, which can make students uncomfortable and maybe even limit learning because of that discomfort. Wearables offer a safe and private, but still realistic experience. A recent study from the University of Minnesota found that wearables provide strong realism, without sacrificing psychological safety. In fact, students using wearable simulators were rated satisfactory both by faculty and peers. And even better, wearables allow students to develop both technical skills and those soft skills that go hand in hand, like compassion and sensitivity and understanding, because they don't just simulate a task, they simulate an experience, right? They make the learning moment relevant, which is exactly what today's students need to make those connections. What makes wearables really special is how they help students see beyond the procedure and connect with the person, whether it's simulating limited mobility or vision or hearing loss or maybe a respiratory challenge. These tools give students a chance to feel what their patients or clients or family members might feel. And that physical experience sparks a deeper understanding and helps them develop the kind of empathy that sticks. 2022 article from Healthy Simulation also pointed out that wearables don't just prepare learners for the technical side, but again, they're improving communication, they're improving emotional intelligence, and they're helping students respond to those real world interpersonal challenges that they're going to encounter every day, no matter where they work. And the best part, they do all of this affordably without needing high-end simulation labs. Wearable simulators are powerful, scalable learning that truly sticks. So my favorite part, let's take a look at some of the wearable simulators that we offer here at Realityworks to help make those sticky learning moments. So first up is our Geriatric Simulator. This was actually the very first tool we developed to help students start to develop empathy and geriatric sensitivity. This is a fully wearable simulator that allows students to physically experience what it feels like to age. So as you can see in the image, students will wear vision distorting goggles, they'll wear a weighted vest, gloves, there's all sorts of joint restrictors. And then they put all of those items on and start to complete simple daily tasks, right? And by doing that, while wearing this suit, they start to develop empathy for those mobility and those sensory challenges that older adults face every day. This is a really powerful tool for helping students understand, right? Not just know, but understand what aging feels like, for instance, or limited mobility. So I'm going to play a couple of videos throughout this presentation, and the first one is now. So let me know if for some reason it's not working. But if I don't hear anything, I'm just going to keep going. All right, so let's play. So this first video is of a student wearing our geriatric simulator from head to toe and completing a simple task, walking up a flight of stairs, right, while wearing the simulator. So this activity, which many of your students do likely with ease several times a day, suddenly feels slower and more frustrating. And that's the point. This experience helps students better understand why someone may be moving slowly or maybe asking for repetition. Now, this tool does include several standards-aligned lessons, most of which incorporate the simulator in some way, right? So for instance, the visual impairment lessons ask you to divide the class into groups, for instance, and have each group try to do some of the simple tasks like reading a page out of a book or buttoning your shirt while wearing the visual impairment glasses. There's a lesson on declining mobility that suggests students wear all the weights while bending over to pick something up, or like we just saw, walking up or down a flight of stairs. There's opportunities to reflect, to gather feedback from peers, so everyone's learning together, right, and feeding off of each other. And again, helping develop real empathy, not just sympathy. Oop, there we go. So next up is our Geriatric Sensory Impairment Kit, which really zooms in on common sensory losses that many older adults experience. It comes with several tools to simulate arthritis, hand tremors, and hearing decline. So when students put on these items and then try to, again, do a simple task like buttoning a shirt or follow instructions while wearing the hearing impairment simulator, for instance, they begin to realize just how challenging and often isolating these experiences can be. So again, here's an individual, me, struggling with something as routine as opening a water bottle while wearing, in this case, our arthritis simulator. And when your students do these activities themselves, the frustration becomes real. They're trying to do something they do probably hundreds of times a day, possibly, and they can't. It's harder. It takes longer. They can't rush, right? Those challenges promote not only patience, but that mindset shift. How can I make this easier or more even respectful for someone else? So again, like our geriatric simulator, the curriculum helps participants learn about age-related bone and joint changes like flexibility and strength and range of motion. It also includes several simulation experiences like the one you're watching, plus a fully immersive lesson as well that uses all three simulators in a group setting. So next up is our COPD and Mobility Challenges Simulator. This is a simulator that replicates the physical exhaustion and breathlessness of someone living with COPD or mobility limitations. It comes with a weighted vest, plus task instructions that mimic daily routines so you can set up those scenarios right in your classroom. Students quickly learn how even short distances or small tasks can require major effort, and why helping sometimes isn't an option. So in this video, you can see a student walking just a short distance while wearing the vest and breathing out of a straw. And you can see, you can't hear, but you can see, right? She's tired. She's realizing how difficult even those basic movements have become. And those small insights help students understand the hidden workload of chronic conditions and improve the way they offer assistance and care, right? So like our other tools, these come with standards-aligned lessons that are included with the simulation. Students learn about respiratory illnesses, they'll learn about mobility challenges in older adults, and how to enhance soft skills while working with those individuals. So how to practice patience and maybe improved communication when you're trying to help out someone who is experiencing these physical limitations. Now, our Hemiplegia Simulator mimics the effects of a stroke by restricting motion on one side of the body. So students here again can try those daily tasks like putting on a jacket or walking, except they'll have an unbalanced gait and they're only going to have use of one arm. This is a truly eye-opening experience that fosters deep respect for those learning to live and thrive after trauma. So here we see a student trying to walk a short distance. He's not going very fast. It doesn't look super easy, right? This daily activity becomes awkward and frustrating. And that's the point. When students feel the struggle, when your young, healthy students struggle to walk 5 feet, they're starting to not only build empathy, but also a better understanding of why patience and dignity matter in like rehabilitation settings, in classrooms, in the grocery store. Like our other tools, the accompanying lessons integrate the simulator completely to really provide students with that fully immersive experience of what it's like to live with the condition. They'll be put through a series of daily tasks like walking, but also like opening jars or pouring a glass of water, etc., giving them plenty of opportunities to reflect and assess their own learning while they're understanding how hard sometimes it can be to live with conditions like these. Finally, our dementia simulation experience uses a blend of disorienting audio, uncomfortable gear, and confusing instructions to help students feel what it's like to navigate daily life with dementia. This one's really cool. It's more than just a simulation. It's an emotional experience, really, that changes the way students act. The curriculum is super helpful. It's designed to help students understand the differences and the various workable interventions for caring for individuals with dementia. And it specifically dives into 5 different types of dementia and how those conditions all compare. So we don't have a video of this simulator in action, but I would love to just briefly play an audio sample. This is just a sample of one of several audio recordings that are included in the lessons. Each one is specific to one of the 10 scenarios that come with the simulator, and they're designed to help those in-class scenarios just become a little more realistic, a little more immersive. So your students would put on the headset, load that MP3 player up, press play, and they might hear something like this while they're trying to maybe fill out a piece of paper or, complete a form or read a page out of a magazine or go for a walk. Maybe they're just trying to simulate a peaceful, relaxing walk, but they're having to listen to this. So I'm going to play, and I'm hoping everyone can hear. Someone let me know if you guys don't.
Don't think it's playing. Is it playing for you at all, Ray, or anyone else? Go on mute, Ray.
No, not for me
Sorry.
either.
No, it's not coming through.
No?
No.
Oh, bummer. Okay, well, I'll stop. Okay, well then, you know what? Maybe this is a thing that could be included as well in any sort of post-webinar, emails or anything like that. I can link to it in the presentation, or it is already, but I can make that super clear. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. Well, I encourage everyone to go take a look afterward. Okay, well, that was the last simulator that I was going to cover today. So now what? We've covered a lot. It's been 20 minutes, but we've kind of had an information-packed little half an hour here. And I do just want to emphasize that we've got lots of other resources to help you take the next step, whatever that is. We do have a free downloadable soft skills poster specific to health science careers on our website. We've also got general printable infographics that address the importance of soft skills in a variety of workplace settings, including emotional intelligence skills like empathy and sensitivity. You can access all of those posters. There's well over 24 on our website on the URL on the screen. We also have a really cool guide on teaching empathy toward older adults on our website as well. It is packed full of free lessons and free activities. There's a really cool empathy self-assessment that you can download from the guide and use to help your students even just, get that conversational ball rolling about what empathy is and how it impacts their life. That's included in that guide as well. So again, available on the URL in front of you. And of course, you can see all of these tools we just talked about, plus others by visiting our website as well. And of course, if you have any questions about the tools or how to use them or anything, please reach out. Sounds like you've got several experts at your fingertips that you can leverage as well if you need anything.